crapping out. Hey, we're here. It's the KSR Football Podcast. For the 11th year, we have a Kentucky Sports Radio Football Podcast. This is the OG podcast from 2015, and that first one was a technical disaster, but we figured it out. We pieced things back together. That was with Jared and Freddie joining us. We've had a lot of different panelists over the years, Drew. I'm really excited about this new one we got who's joining us for the first time.
Me too, but we were just saying before we started, I'd never met Van until today, but I feel like I know him. I've been following the cut up highlights and his game reviews that he does often the night of the game. I've been following those for years, so I feel like I already know him, but I'm excited to have him here on the show today.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That is the one.
I appreciate it.
I'm sorry. Our internet's sucking at the office today. It's been one of these days, folks.
No, you're good. But I didn't know this was gonna be live, so I didn't get myself freshened up all nicely for you guys. But I hope I'm okay right now for the people to see this, the radio voice. And I'm not a face for TV.
So if you all weren't around Commonwealth Stadium in the mid-90s, Van was in the secondary, picking off passes, 8 picks in 3 seasons for the Cats. A Baton Rouge native, went on the first ever KSR Football Podcast co-host to be selected in the NFL draft.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The 97 draft. So we got an NFL player on our show, Drew. We just cranked up the knowledge, the expertise like 10 levels compared to what it was before.
Oh, yeah, the football IQ has gone up substantially since adding him. You know, we were blessed to have a Super Bowl champion, but now to have our first draft pick, getting all kinds of true ball knowers and game experience on the show to talk to me and you who are still just a couple idiots that like following the team.
Yeah,
You had your big run of you had a little bit of a career in sales.
Throw the computer today.
Are you not hearing us well?
Yeah. Nothing like we're going to get here today. And Drew has alluded to it. The cut-ups that Van does on the internets, the Twitter. Van, I think that's the part that I'm most excited about all of this is because it's not just like we got to have some former player on here. You're locked in. You're watching every Saturday. You're breaking down the tape like a coach because you are a coach. You coach high school football down in Louisiana. So you're going to make our listeners, our viewers smarter. And I don't know if we've ever been able to do that ever. So thank you. I'm glad you're here. I'm excited to hear what you got to say about this year's team because this is a big year for Mark Stoops. There's a lot on the line. So hopefully you can help educate people to help share why things did or did not go wrong or right for the Wildcats this upcoming fall.
Yeah, I'll try my best. I joined another show last year for my first time, and we wound it up 4-8. I hope I'm not the curse of UK football.
Well, before we start diving into the weeds and what we expect to happen this Kentucky football season, I do got to give a shout out to our sponsors who are going to be partnering with us throughout the 2025 campaign. Friends of Cole. That's right. Our friends at Friends of Cole. They're the friendliest Friends of Cole. Friends of Cole is dedicated to informing and educating Kentucky citizens about the coal industry and its vital role in the state's future. Friends of Cole provides a united voice for an industry that has been and remains a critical economic engine for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. By working together, we can provide good jobs and benefits for future generations. Coal is resilient, reliable, and affordable. Friends of Coal is a volunteer organization, and everyone is invited to be a part of the organization, which consists of proud Kentuckians as well as residents from beyond the borders. Just head on over to friendsofcoalkentucky.org to learn more about our Friends of Coal. You see the license plates. Now you're hearing about it here. Go visit them online at friendsofcoalkentucky.org. So the Cats are playing Toledo 5 days from today. We get to hang out with Mark Stoops this afternoon, his first game week press conference. And he said it, what we were all thinking. We're tired of talking. We're tired of hearing him talk. We're ready to watch some football. you're never going to get like a Spitfire Mark Stoops, but I did enjoy that. Like a lot of this offseason, Drew, he's just been kind of quiet about like, we just want to get our head down and get to work. We don't want to make headlines, and we've kind of poked at that some. But like the time to prove people wrong, it's now, right? Like people have been wondering, well, did Stoops do enough? Are they going to be able to fix it? Can they get it right? They've spent all this offseason putting in the work, and as he said, now is the time to change the narrative. Now it's in their hands. They can change what people say about them by their play on Saturday. So I know he's fired up to prove people wrong, and I'm also glad to at least like that he at least acknowledged that he's not too naive to know that everybody thinks this team's going to stink, right? Like you look up, there's 4 and 8, there's power rankings where they're 16th. They can't change what people are saying about them over the summer, but they can change it starting Saturday.
Yeah, and this offseason was his first real show-me offseason where most of the fans, they didn't want to hear much. They just wanted to see the product on the field. A year ago, we got a little fired up about the transfer portal and the team we thought he had built. We all know how that ended with 4 wins, didn't go well. So from the minute the season ended a year ago with the loss in the Governor's Cup to coming up on this Saturday, a lot of the fan base has just said, show me. I don't care. Don't tell me about it now. I just want to see it on the field, start winning games. He hadn't been able to do anything in press conferences to really win people over. And here in 5 days, he's finally going to put something out there to do it. And I told myself all summer I'm not going to get too optimistic, and I'm still keeping my expectations down low. But I will say now that it's right in front of us, I'm pretty fired up for some football. Even just getting a little taste of week 0, just the routine that we have with work, the depth chart coming out. You were at the Monday press conference. I'm not ready to crown them and say they're going to be this good product, but I'm very excited to see them. And the show me part is finally here.
That's the part, though, I wanted to ask you, Van. Like, were there enough changes on the roster to change your mind about this team? To think like, okay, I can see where this might work. Do you like what Stoops did this offseason with the roster? He wanted to keep the coaching change. He wanted to keep the coaches the same, have some continuity at the top, but he had to flip the roster. Do you think he did enough to flip the roster to let Kentucky fans watch some competent football this fall?
Yeah, time will tell. I think grabbing those guys on the O-line was necessary. And I think, how can I say this? Changing the culture in the locker room, having some of the guys that could have been a culture problem leaving and transferring or going to the NFL is going to help. So I honestly think they did a lot. And to be able to get the guys that they got after 4 and 8 season says a lot about that staff and the way that they can sell some of these kids on coming to Kentucky, because they have a lot of other choices, and to come to Kentucky after 4 and 8 season is a little rough. So for them to shore up that defensive line and the offensive line was huge for us. And I'm looking forward to see what those guys can do on Saturdays, because it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and that's the part that stinks, is like a lot of it you do have to see, especially in the trenches, because, like I see Shiaz Pete, he's a big guy. Alex Walschlager, big guy. Like you see them, but how well does it all work together, right? Like can Jagger snap the football, Like I don't know. Like it was a little shaky at times in the past. So a lot of it does have to be seen. And the part that I have been a little worried about is just that these running backs that you brought in to run the damn ball, you kind of built your team to get back to being one of those teams that wins in the trenches. You didn't let them get tackled in the preseason. Is there anything to that, Van? Like, they've played enough football, they shouldn't need to get tackled in the preseason to be ready to play. Yeah,
for running backs, I am not concerned. Not only are they not freshmen, they have ran the ball for other teams in the past. Running back is that weird position where you want to save the amount of contacts you can get on them anyway. So, no, I have no concerns with the running back room. I honestly think you don't have to have marquee players at positions to be a good team. I don't think we have a marquee player. The potential marquee player is Jamarian Wilcox, and he, for some reason, is not a good gracious of the coaching staff. But I think this is the best running back or the deepest running back room since AJ Rose, C-Rod, and Smoke. So I think you need 3 running backs, and we definitely have 3, and we potentially have 4. So I am optimistic about this running back room, but running backs are not good unless the offensive line is good.
Roush, one of my favorite football teams of all time, had smash and dash. The Titans with Chris Johnson and Lindell White. Now, McGowan and Dowdell probably aren't going to be that, but I love the combo of styles they have, and he's got them in order here in week 1. And then, of course, when your leading rusher a year ago is now down to running back 4, I'm excited to see what that backfield can do.
So my big thing is just like, can we not get to the 5 inside the 5 and get no points? I mean, I felt like every year we would. I mean, last year, every week, Drew, we would come in here and be like, guess what? Kentucky got down to the 4 again, and they didn't score, So, like, as much as I don't want to say worried, but, like, a little put off the fact that they kind of did the load management thing for them in the scrimmages, I at least feel very confident that Dante Dowdell is going to get some hard yards. And that was something that, like, I hadn't experienced as a Kentucky fan in the past. Because, like, Van, I grew up on air raid, right? I grew up on, like, we're throwing the ball around the yard, like, this is how we're going to play football. Having that physicality, that style with Benny and Chris, we're like, it was like a 7-year run where you're just kicking asses in the trenches. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't know that Kentucky could have that identity, could create that identity. And I think that was one that we were really proud of. And it's a shame that it eroded away so quickly. Like that was the part I think that was shocking. And it's just like, can they get it back? Like, can they do this again? Or how are vibe check, fan? Just like, how are we feeling pretty good going into this? Are we feeling like, okay, I'm kind of liking where things going, or where are you at going into the season?
I am feeling really good, but here's the reason why I'm feeling good. It has a lot to do with us, but it has a lot to do with other teams too. I think for fandom, we tend to forget about the opponent. We are so laser focused on our team. There are other teams in this conference that are dealing with the same things that we are. I mean, your Tennessee probably lost 80% of their offense, losing the SEC most valuable offensive player in Dylan Sampson from Louisiana, from Baton Rouge, and losing Nico. Auburn's having the same issue. Ole Miss is bringing in a new quarterback, although he is a highly touted high school prospect. Like, there are other teams that are going through issues the same way we are. Sellers is getting a new offensive coordinator. So I think with us, the turnover and having, to me, 2 perfect storms, you got guys that stayed, that have a chip on their shoulders. You got transfer portal guys who believe they should have been a Power 4 prospect. Now they get a chance to play in the SEC, have a chip on their shoulder. Hopefully those 2 things merges and we form something that can create us. Look, if we can win 7 games this year, fans should be elated. And people who are barking at Kentucky ever winning 7 games, I don't think they know our history.
I love the message we got from Steven in on the chat, who remembers sitting in the stadium while we're losing, but hanging in there just to watch Van bust some heads. Would targeting would that have sent you out of a few games back in the day, Van?
All right, and that's the crazy part. It's interesting that you brought up. I have 8 picks. No one remembers the picks. I remember the hits. Yes, I would have been ejected if I can count the hits I had when I was playing. I think I would have missed half of my career because I would have been ejected and missed the next half of the next game. Although I wish we did have it, because the concussions is one big reason why I didn't last in the NFL. So maybe I would have been able to prolong my career, but I'm not sure that I would have lasted in this current atmosphere environment of college football right now.
I was going to ask your favorite interception of your – yeah, what's your favorite hit? There you go, Ralph.
Oh, you know what? What's crazy is my favorite hit is not actually against an opponent. We all know who Mo Williams is, and I don't think people understand how small Mo Williams was. He was I think Mo got up to 190 during fall camp, but he went to 180 hitting Mo Williams my freshman year in the A gap, I was playing safety at the time, was by far the most jarring spinal feeling I've ever had. And so that would be my greatest hit. My greatest interception it's got to be obvious. My first interception was in Tiger Stadium my sophomore year.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Coming back home. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. Mo Williams is only $190. He looked like 240 with them shoulder pads up.
When we had the shoulder pads. Yeah. No, Mo probably played, if I would guess, about 188, 187 his entire career doing game days. That guy is by far the most well-built shoulder-wise. I don't know how much callus he had built into his body, because man, he was impossible to actually get down and get a good hit on. But that one, it was like maybe a yard and a half hole, and we both met in there, man. It was, yeah. I still feel it now. That's probably why my back hurts.
I didn't expect your answer to be your own teammate, but that one works.
Oh man, and you got a front row seat to that South Carolina game too. That was that's one of those that's fun. Like I know Daniel Hager has a lot of great clips. We need like a full Mo Williams compilation out there, and especially that South Carolina game. That dude was a man possessed that day.
Dude, he was. You know what? I'm still upset that we couldn't find the right offensive coordinator, because Mo left not because he wanted to leave. Mo left because of the offensive coordinator we had. There were some issues. There was some Jamarian Wilcox issues that probably was going on. And if that guy would have had, look, the whole Benny Snell breaking the record, if Mo stayed another year, it would have been untouchable.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. They would have racked him up.
Roush, I pulled this down for you. Look at this gym.
Whoa, leather too?
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's got a little dust on it, but it's a big fan of that era too.
I mean, it was great branding at the time. I've still got some of the reload cups. I also I don't know if any of you all did this as kids, but we always had a bathtub cup. Like it was like when you were a kid, that was the cup you used to wash your hair off. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to wash that hair.
Yeah, so much hair, which, by the way, Peak, my God, the visual of me at the press conference today, it's just like zoom in on Roush's bald spot. Look at how bald he is. God, that was brutal. But the bathtub cup at the Roush house growing up, it was they're always souvenir cups from the stadium, and ours was, "Welcome to Kentucky, your new head coach, Bill Curry." And it was just the nice comb over.
Wow.
Which I guess was that 91? Has that been his first year, maybe?
No, was it 90? I think he was there a couple. I got in 93. I want to say, it might have been 90 or 91. You could be right.
That sounds about right. And so, were you redshirting on or did you play on the Peach Bowl team?
I played on the Peach Bowl team. Yep.
I get that twisted sometimes.
What's that? You can't hear me?
The thing broke up. So were you part of the Peach Bowl team?
Yeah, I was freshman.
Everybody knows Marty Moore's name for that, but I was too, so I was a little.
Yeah, I was on that Peach Bowl team. Actually, trivial question: I made the first tackle of that season. Marty Moore, I know it still eats him up. Interception against Clemson to end the game, and instead of him getting down, he ran and he fumbled, and they scored. So
he did a pregame show with us a few years ago, and I mean it had been several years, and he still didn't seem to want to talk about it.
Yeah,
like wanted no part of the conversation.
Yeah. Perfect play, perfect. He did everything right, and then just
That's the sport, though. That's the sport. We saw some of that chaos. Oh,
you made the first tackle as a true freshman. First tackle
of the
season. Nice.
First tackle on kickoff of the season. Crazy story about that. If you know Coach Curry didn't believe in, I won't say celebration. bringing attention to yourself. Well, I couldn't help it. So I did some crazy. I came over to him. Here's a crazy one. I came over to him and said, Coach, I apologize. I won't do it again. Well, the next kickoff, I made the next tackle, and I did it again. I was in the doghouse for a minute.
You're just excited to be there.
I was excited to be there. 17-year-old freshman, man, come on. In a big stadium with everybody cheering, my mom and dad there. Yeah, come on now.
This has been fun. This has been a fun little stroll down memory lane. I'm sure we'll get some more memories shared over on the YouTube chat. Appreciate everybody who's joining us on the YouTubes. We're going to be shooting for this every Monday around 2 o'clock or so throughout the Kentucky football season. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any time we go live. I unplugged something, so I'm hoping that's going to make sure that we're moving forward. Peak tried to get me looking all fancy. You can't make me look fancy, all right? I'm just an old washed bald guy who's fired up to watch Kentucky football this fall. So we did get some news today, some big news that I am like. The depth chart drops through, and I'm just like, okay, like how boring is this going to be?
Well, let's be honest. Last year, they didn't even update it. We got the same one like every week.
Right.
I remember that. Right.
Which is like, fine by me. If that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. But at least the first one, there might be some surprise in there. We got one surprise, and it was the punt returner. No more Jamori Macklin. Ty Bryant is going to be fielding punts this year, and that's the key. Ty Bryant, can you please just catch the ball? Because, that is just catch it. If I had to watch the ball bounce 15 yards back for another season, that was going to drive me nuts, Van. I was ready to pull out the rest of my hairs. That was bad last year.
Yeah, I know people want to see electricity and punt returns for touchdowns. I looked it up. There's only 2 return touchdowns off of punts last year in the SEC. One was from a Vanderbilt guy. So let's get off of that. But the hidden yards are huge. I was special team coach, and at every level I played on said, get 10 yards is the goal. One less first down that the offense has to travel. If you can just prevent the ball from bouncing 20 or 30 yards, that's the key to the game. Is get a guy. When I played, we had a guy my freshman named Matt Ariza. Matt caught every punt. I don't care if it was a 30-yard punt or 50-yard punt. He caught everyone. And those hidden yards that he protected was huge for us because our offense was anemic, just like it's probably been for the majority of UK football history. So preventing those extra yards was huge for us.
I was really surprised to see him there, but at a completely different level, obviously. But living next to Frederick Douglass High School, I've watched Ty Bryant take a lot of punts to the house. He had several his senior year. I know we're just wanting to catch it, but there is some experience there in high school. And even though it was a little shocking to see his name on the list, was that even hinted at camp at all? Even I felt like that media practice, I don't even remember him out there with them.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things too that it can kind of get lost in the wash, and they're rotating guys, so you don't know who it's going to be. But Stoops pointed out too that Ty was a good baseball player. You got to have an ability to track the ball if you're playing in the outfield. So that makes sense. That adds up. And the other part too is I know some of what I'm saying, just catch the ball. That's a little thing, but Charles Walker was a just catch the ball guy, and our boy, he returned a punt for a touchdown. So even the just catch the ball guys can spring a few loose and get you some big plays. So hopefully Ty does it well. We can't pull a Dylan Edwards and have him get hurt and muff the punt on the first play of the year. I mean, that I'm not saying that cost Kansas State the game, but he's their best player and he hurts his ankle on the very first touch of the game. They kind of shot themselves in the foot there.
On the biggest game of the first weekend of the season, that you see that was a rough way for the college year to start.
I mean, losing that over, that was the most I was so back, right? I'm great at losing bets in heartbreaking fashion. So to have to think I'm dead and then you're alive. You know, Avery Johnson throws that long touchdown. I'm like, oh gosh, they might have a chance at hitting this over here. And then you're like, okay, just get a stop, get a score. 4th down, the pass is complete, and I'm just like, oh no, I'm dead. Oh wait, he might score. He scored. We're there. And then they go to the replay, and I just think, really, like you really you didn't score. Like he's this close. Just give him the points. And then Matt Campbell has to kneel it out like that. Just, I mean, yeah, you're giggling a lot, Van. You know, I'm glad that my misery is your pleasure. I hope that's the case for all of our listeners too, because there's probably going to be more of it this year. I'm probably going to lose a lot of bets in heartbreaking fashion.
Yeah, that the football guys had it out for you, because I'm gonna say Edwards' injuries was based on that crappy field in Dublin, probably why he injured it. Then the rain probably is the reason why he dropped it. Like all that stuff, man. I understand money is a big factor. I totally get it. But why have your first game in a country that doesn't care about football in that weather? I mean, come on. And we're fighting the devil right now in Louisiana. It's 90 plus degrees. And those guys go there, it's like 60, balmy, cloudy, rainy. You don't want to play in that for your opening game.
I know that the reason they started it was because one of your rule exceptions was to play week 0. You could play it if you went on a long trip. Can we just like make the long trip to the Mercedes-Benz or something? Like, can we go to the Superdome, right? Like, the Cajuns down there, man, you know, they're a little different. It might as well be a different country. Like, come on, let's just play it there.
I don't get it. I played a game in Ireland when I was with the Bears, and I don't think people understand it. It messes up with a football player's routine. On top of that, when you go there, the food is different. So what are you going to eat? Your pregame meal is like, everything is just different. I personally don't think your top game should be over there. If you want to go and play Louisiana Tech against Nicholls State, let them go get it. But come on, man, not 2 ranked teams go there. And that is going to determine the Big 12 probably champion.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Which, speaking of Nicholls, they shut down Incarnate Word, that mighty Incarnate Word offense that Zach Calzada was whipping it around. We have spent most of the offseason assuming that Zach Calzada was the quarterback. But Stoops, he kind of wanted us to jump through a few hoops towards the end of camp. And he said, Cutter Bowley, he's pushing the needle. He's getting it close. But ultimately today, they said that Zach Calzada is the starting quarterback. I don't know how much of the rhetoric is – like, I think a lot of it is to just, like, give Cutter some credit where credit is due because he has improved drastically. But, Drew, can they say something nice about Calzada? Because I feel like every time I try to ask about Zach Calzada, it's just like he's got experience. It's like, well, can you say something else? Like, you don't have to gas him up like you did Devin Leary or even Will Levis or whatever it may be. But, like, can you tell us something about Kentucky's quarterback? I would like to know more. And does it worry you at all how apprehensive they are to praise this guy?
It doesn't worry me at all. It is confusing, though. If you just did word count on coaches at press conference since fall camp, Calzada and Bowley's going to be the most talked about by far. And it's weird for your second-string quarterback to get all that when you have this new transfer. It was a big-time get. You're trying to sell them to your fan base that needs some excitement. And most of the talk was about our second quarterback. But I remember we get to go to like 2 practices of the 15 that they get. But I remember we were sitting there together, and Cutter was looking better that day. It was against the Twos, and it was one day. But we were talking about how hesitant we're going to be to go on our radio shows and say that because we don't want to build some crazy narrative, but not just because of us, that it did become that throughout the camp. And the coaches seemed to add to it when they should have been lifting Calzada up a little bit too. Bowley deserved all the recognition he got because he did look to have made a big jump this fall. But it was almost like it was just all the talk was about him when they knew Calzada was going to be the guy. So I don't know if it was strategic or just how it came up in their conversations, but they should have given us a lot more about Calzada because it doesn't seem that they'd be worried about him. He looked fine in the 2 we were there, but they didn't give him much credit.
When we learned about Zach Calzada coming to Kentucky, Van, I know you watched a lot of his old games. What did you see, and what did you like about Calzada?
So to me, it's the moxie. To me, it's the ability to handle adversity. He has a pretty good arm. Not Will Levis elite, but a really good arm. He's played in the conference before, which I think is something that was maybe a hindrance with Devin Leary and then Brock, because even though Brock was in the conference, he didn't play many meaningful games. So I think that's big. He started in this conference before. He understands the timing and how much time you might have in the pocket. And then he humbled himself by going to UIW. There's a lot of guys who wouldn't have went to UIW after playing in the SEC. So for him to be able to go there and humble himself and prove his status, I guess, and now he's ready at the age of what, 26, 27? He's ready to put a team on his back.
I thought it was interesting that when I talked to guys in College Station, like they seemed to really kind of be cheering for him because they liked him. And Calzada didn't feel like he got a fair shake there. I mean, he won him 8 games. Should have been 9. They got upset by LSU in the season finale. Beat Alabama. And they rewarded him by recruiting a 5-star in Connor Wegman to take his job. Haynes King was coming back. And then they were bringing Max Johnson in. So it was like, hey, thanks for all your hard work. You don't have a spot here anymore. So I think they're, you mentioned it earlier, Van, about the guys who, like, there's a lot of players who do have something to prove here. And I think that Calzada can be a plus in that regard, where he can be a player that the team rallies behind. But I would like you to maybe dive into it a little bit more, because that SEC experience, like seeing opposing defenses, is valuable. Is there any way you can illustrate just like how quickly fast things moves and like what they have to process on a play-by-play basis when they're trying to find an open man? Because there's a lot of wheels that got to be turned and really fast to be able to connect from quarterback to receiver.
Yeah, there's the game picks up. I don't know. I never played another conference, but I can tell you that the speed of the game is so much faster, and it's not because of just you playing on the next level. It's because everybody is that good. When your nose guard is probably run a 4.9 or 5 flat, which is fast for a guy who's 300 plus pounds, it is incumbent of you to get rid of the ball. The other thing is what you're saying is, I think his experience is a big factor in him being able to know what coverages are. He's probably seen every coverage. He's probably seen every trap coverage. He's probably seen every rotation to your favorite guy. I think he's at this level now where he can slow it down. Okay, this play, just simplicity say, we want to run a curl arrow, strong safety is there. Well, let me check it down to the running back. A lot of quarterbacks want to push the ball down the field. You do that when you have the chance, but sometimes checking it down is the perfect option. I think with his experience, he's going to be comfortable making that pass. I think Cutter Boley last year in certain situations tried to push the ball too far down the field in a situation where you take what they give you. Sometimes you don't want to fit into a tight window because these guys are elite. And if you try to fit in a tight window, this is not you playing Tate's Creek where the start middle linebacker is not as quick, where you can fit it in that window. Now, every linebacker is just as good as your wide receivers.
Speaking of things moving fast, when something breaks down in your house, you don't want to let that problem wait around and linger. So call my old Kentucky Home Repair, 859-940-3376. They can be your Central Kentucky repairman. They'll get you in a hurry and fix your problem in no time. They're your partner for any home project, proudly serving the Bluegrass region since 2008. Well, Kentucky Home Repair, they offer your basic handyman services. They also do home repairs, but the other part too is remodels. I've dealt with a kitchen remodel. Drew, didn't you recently do a remodel? It can be annoying, right? Like
absolutely.
It's a pain in the butt. You don't like being without a kitchen sink or a dishwasher for a long time. That sucks. Just don't be out of commission for a long time. Head on over to My Old Kentucky Home my old KYHomeRepair.com or give them a call at 859-940-3376 to get whatever you need taken care of done in a jiffy. I got no time to deal with home repairs right now. Like we're football season, full speed ahead. Luckett, he had to get his mouth repaired. He'd be joining us today, but Luckett's getting his wisdom teeth out today. It's like, how old are you, man? Like, what were you, 18? Like, were you getting your wisdom teeth out? What?
That and on the busiest day of the week, covering the team with the press conference, the podcast, all the posts have to be done. Do you think this was intentional?
He's trying to get out of some work. Imagine him showing up to the Mark Stoops press conference. Like, you get those videos of people who come out of the dentist that are all loopy. Like, imagine him being swollen up like, Stoops, 12 personnel.
I'm like a normal person, got my wisdom teeth taken out as a child. But 20 years later, maybe even more, I still have anxiety about what my mom said I was saying to the nurses because you're just in there blabbing. And it wasn't anything too crazy. But just not having control of what you're saying in public and all that, of whatever that laughing gas they give you. It would have been great to have Luckett come straight on here and talk to us about football season under whatever condition he's in.
He would start making up players, just, whatever. That
We're going to have to give some surgery to the KS Bar internet on this today. There you go. We lost you just for a second there. It had been good until that point. Whatever you were doing until right there has been working, but you hit a little bit of a bad spot.
I know, and it's the first week for all of us. It's week 1 for all of us. So next week we're bringing the Ethernet plug in because it's just driving me nuts.
I had another depth chart question for you, Nick.
Hit me.
We didn't get many surprises. I like how if you are listed as a wide receiver, you are in the mix. Have we ever gotten oars for an entire room like they gave us on the receivers today? And I guess they're alphabetical, so there's not really anything to even take away from it.
Yeah. So part of it is definitely – it was expected, and this is how Stoops operated. This is how a lot of coaches operate. I know Luckett, he was pissed when we were watching the Western Kentucky game because their depth chart, they just listed every player in alphabetical order on their depth chart. He was like, well – I don't know if Lavelle Wright's even going to touch the ball. I was hoping to see if he was going to play or not, but they aren't giving me anything. At least in the wide receivers room case, like it backs up what they said about him. And they are very much making these guys prove it. And they should, because I don't think there is we know that Kendrick Law is going to play a lot, but this is a group that does need to go earn it. It's a group of career wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 guys that have either dealt with injuries or just haven't been able to climb up the depth chart that are looking for an opportunity. They got it. So, okay, we'll go do it. Like Hartley Gilmore, we know you can catch the ball, but do you know this offense well enough where we can trust you to put you out there in these situations and call your number? So they are very much in a prove-it mode. The depth chart backs that up. But Van, my thing is I don't know who to bet on to be a guy, to be a reliable pass catcher. And that worries me. That worries me for Zach Calzada. He may know where to go with the ball, but are these guys going to be as consistent as they need to be to operate a successful offense?
Well, first of all, we all know how soft wide receivers are. They can only run 1-9 route before they start tapping their helmet. That's why they have the R on there, because once they run 2 routes, they're coming out anyway. No, just sure. Well, I'm going to say this. His go-to guy, look, who is Patrick Mahomes' go-to guy?
I mean,
Kelce.
Tight end.
Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce.
Tight end. All right.
Yeah.
Willie Rodriguez is your go-to guy. He is going to create the most mismatches out of anybody else in that room, in the wide receiver room or the tight end room. He's going to be on a linebacker or a strong safety. Here's the great thing about if they utilize him right, in my opinion, from a defensive standpoint. If you bring him in there with Josh Caddis, are you going to go base personnel or are you going to go nickel? If you go nickel, you run at the nickelback. If you go base personnel, where you got Willie Rodriguez, on a linebacker or a strong safety. I think that's the key to the season. If they can use him as an H-back motion, if he can block any, I think that can cause some problems for defenses.
I mean, Van, so what you're saying is this is the year they finally throw it to the tight ends, right?
Hey.
Are we finally going to do this? Are we going to jump? Are we going to throw it to the tight ends? This is a dangerous. You're going to get a lot of people's hopes up, Van.
Hey, I want people to think back. This is the first, I guess, pass catching tight end where I feel comfortable that he can go one-on-one in an option route or find green grass and be able to beat opponents' defensive coverage. I don't think we've had that in recent history. I think C.J. Conrad was the closest guy to that. And I don't think C.J. will say he was the world beater as far as getting open, as far as one-on-one, man-to-man. I think you got a guy who can do that. And I think that's going to be the advantage of this season with Bush. Having seen him last year, I think he can devise some things to get him open.
Van, did you know much about Kendrick Law in high school? I know he was a Louisiana guy that was pretty highly rated.
Yeah, he's a Captain Shreve guy. Well, I'm talking like you guys know Louisiana football. He is a Northern Louisiana guy, which we call Southern Arkansas. He's not really a Louisiana guy. He's a Southern Arkansas guy. But the great thing about him is, I've said this before, and this is a hot take. Oh. He is Lynn Bowden. He is, when ball is in his hands, he can make things happen. The issue he had in high school, but when you're one of the best athletes on the field, you don't have to worry about it so much as his route running. He's not a technician like a Wandale Robinson as far as a skill set of running routes. But if you get the ball in his hands, it's going to be hard bringing him down.
I like that, man. You know what, Drew? While we're at it and we're just gassing people up, I did want to share something that might get people optimistic, because here's the thing. I know that I get accused of being a sunshine pumper. Put my blue glasses on. I have tried to have a healthy sense of skepticism throughout this offseason. But, you guys are talking to people around the program, and yes, I know people around the program are going to be more optimistic too. But there is one person in particular who watches practices quite often, who is usually a very pessimistic person by nature, like a very pessimistic person by nature. And even he is like, they're going to be better than expected. This team's pretty good. Like they got the right stuff. So I know this is the time where we're supposed to start believing, and it's natural to do that. But like, I think Kentucky's. I'm falling for it, Drew. Hook, line, sinker. Like they've got me. They got me all the way back. I'm back.
Hand up. Me too. Going back to February, I've said on the show a million times, I'm not doing it this year. My prediction is 5 wins, and I will not change it. Well, last week, Tyler sends out the email. We need everybody's final predictions. I've been 5 in concrete since February. Changed it to 6 at the last minute. I'm starting to, like you, I'm starting to talk myself into something I never thought I'd get there with this team. But I've liked what I've seen of them. Really, the culture was a big part of the talk in the offseason. And what little glimpse we got in those couple practices they pulled back the curtain for media and fan day. I really saw guys that were holding each other accountable. Calzada looked to be a leader. Not a lot of funny business. I mean, you got a couple of your freshmen out there being knuckleheads a little bit on the sideline, but they looked like a fine-tuned operation that has taken this not a rebuild, but turning this thing around, and they've been very serious about it. That made me feel a lot better. We'll see about their talent level, but the operation does look to be much improved on that end from where it was a year ago.
And it just looks like a team that's built the way that Mark Stoops wants his team built from a tangible and intangible standpoint, right? Like you got a bunch of big physical guy in the trenches, but also he wants them to be player led. Well, these are some old guys who this is kind of their NFL shot. Like this is their NFL training camp for all intents and purposes. They might have gotten 1 game or 2 games against SEC teams earlier in their career where they put out some good tape. But now they get this is their opportunity. And is Stoops, the way he put it, like there's a lot of pros and cons to the portal. Well, one of the pros is that these guys treat it like they're professionals. So
Calzada called it his one and done year at Kentucky, not to compare to the other sport, but he's like, I have 1 year to prove that I'm a pro and I'm here on business. You know, he takes that attitude, it seems.
The other part of it too, and we haven't really talked about it yet, is the defense. And I don't know a good one to compare it to. And I'm definitely worried about the run defense, just like the size of the guys inside and how well they can fit the A gaps. But man, this should be the best pass rush Kentucky's had in a long time. Maybe since Josh Allen. I know that 2019 team with Calvin Taylor and Boogie really got after it, but probably the best pass rush since 2019. Like, there are guys at every position with a little bit of juice. And then you add in the guys on the edge, like Steven Souls has got some real, like, he's got some bend, and they haven't had bendy guys to really make quarterbacks have to think about them in a long time. So, like, having that coupled with the secondary who's very experienced, like, not only do you have experienced guys, but then the new guys, quote unquote, are dudes who were at least cornerback 3 last year who have played a lot of snaps. So, like, that's a great combination if you can get them into those obvious passing situations.
Exactly. I mean, I'm thinking about 2018, and Josh Allen, as a jack linebacker, had his hands in the ground a lot. And when you have a guy with his hands in the ground, you probably more playing an even front, which means probably you have a 1 and a 3 technique, which probably means that those linebackers are going to be able to flow because the guards are covered up more than if you have a true nose and 2 4 eyes. So it's going to be interesting if we go back to, I know it's a 3-4. If we go back to, if you have Souls or O's or Green, more with their hands on the ground, more on the line of scrimmage, I think that will bode well for these light linebackers. Because if to be honest with you, we have some smallish linebackers. So, but if we can prevent the guards from climbing up on them, a 1 and a 3 technique is the perfect way to do it. And if we do that, and if one of those guys can put their hand on the ground, line up on the line of scrimmage, and create some pressure, I think it melds well to a more successful defense. Brad White continuously schemes to the talent level he has. And I think it's going to be a little different than what we saw the last couple of years.
That's a great point about how you change up the front and how it can help out those the inside guys, because Rayner and Afari are great at scraping. Like, sideline to sideline, they're great. You just wonder about the north-south. Some of that was Afari's learning the position a year ago. You know, it's a little bit different. Rayner's issue is more just he's light in the shorts, right? Like, he's just there's not a whole lot there. So, and the other part too is, like, sometimes you just gotta bet on history. And, you know, we've got our season predictions going out tomorrow night, I believe, Drew. And that's kind of what I'm doing this season. But I know there's a lot of people who are like, well, Brad White's soft zone coverage defense is blah, 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 blah. Brother, I've been watching a lot of Kentucky defenses over the years. It ain't never been as good as Brad White's. No offense, Van, but I watch dudes whiff year after year after year after year. And you know what? Last year, that second half of the season, that is the first time since 2016 when Stoops took over play calling from DJ Elliott, where I was like, what the hell is going on, right? Like, guys just didn't tackle, especially against the run. Like, Kentucky has always stopped the run first. And even though I have some questions about it, like, some of it is you got to believe that Brad White is going to figure it out, because that's what they've done for the last 7.5 years. It got a little loose. It got a little leaky last year, but I got to believe that this guy is going to find a way with these guys to be able to figure it out and stuff the run. They do that, they're going to be a damn good defense.
Well, I would say 2 things. I know it was in the 1900s. I know I played in the 1900s, but I played at 9 yards off receiver and had 8 picks. So I don't think having cushion is the reason why things happen. You have to rely on the players. And I really believe that with this team and with the experience, what they should do is look back at that Ole Miss game when DJ and JQ probably played the best game of their career wearing blue. They need to kind of find a way to reinvent whatever they did that week during practice preparing for Ole Miss. Reinvent that, because that was the best game the secondary has played. I guess even Ty Bryan and Jordan. That's the best game those four guys have played since I've seen the last couple of years. And so you have it in them. They know they can play that well. Can they do it on a consistent basis? It's going to be interesting to see.
Especially JQ, because it's one thing to, like, you're going to get beat, but the difference in that game is JQ got Trey Harris to the ground. There was no yak, right? Like, it's catch and tackle. And that's the hidden yards that can really add up on you, especially if one of those broken tackles turns into a 50, 60-yard game. But
you mentioning JQ, I was going to butt in to ask you something. Yeah. Mentioning JQ, does he have a chance to make a jump that some of the corners and defensive backs have made in this defense? Because they're going to need it. He's been fine up to this point, but he hadn't had to be a main guy. He's going to have to be a dude this year.
Look, when you are, how big is he 6'2" or is he 6'3"? It
says 6'3" on the official depth chart today, but that could be.
Let's say he's 6'2" and a half. Let's say they gave him a half an inch. When you have those attributes and that level of talent, all you gotta do is put it together between the ears. And sometimes playing corner, I know I played corner, so I'm gonna be a little bit on their side. Playing corner is the second hardest position in college football. It's quarterbacks and then corners. Because one thing happens when something happens on your side, we know who messed up. It's like, what is he doing? And if he can get the confidence, a lot of corner is just having a confidence. If he can get his confidence back, his swag back, plays are going to happen. The receiver's on scholarship too. He's paid to catch balls in front of you. If you can do a better job of locking down, understanding the scheme. I don't think JQ really was at home with the scheme yet last year. Once he gets comfortable with the scheme and what Coach White wants out of him, and also understanding what the guys behind him, how the safeties play, you can morph your style and your technique to that. And he has everything going for him. To be that tall, long arms, he has the ability. Now it's between the ears. And hopefully the experience will do it for him. He got kind of thrown in kind of hot coming from Cincinnati. Maybe it took him a little time to get his feet wet. He has it, man. If he can just learn to settle down, learn the scheme, I think he can be an NFL player because he has the body type.
Well, and I know we all remember Derek Beatty and Chris Westry playing as true freshmen. Like, oh, look at how great these guys are. But there's a learning curve. It took them some time. They weren't the best guys you had seen before. And it's going to be very easy to draw comps to those guys when you just look at JQ and DJ Waller out there because they're big, they're long, they're going to be able to eat a lot of space. So you know that it's there. It's just like, let's have the light come on a consistent basis. And they're going to get tested right away. Stoops described Toledo as a very good team. I think the quarterback's name is Jack Gleason, and we just have to call him Jackie Gleason. We have to. I know that it's not a reference that a lot of our younger listeners. We're really hitting the demo, that young 18 to 25 demo hard with Jackie Gleason references. But he's been there for a while, playing in a system like the MAC, as chaotic as it is on the field, it's just as chaotic off the field. But Jason Candle's been there forever. He replaced Matt Campbell, and Matt Campbell's been at Iowa State forever. So, like, it is one stable program where they have a system that works. They have a lot of returning players, albeit not in the trenches, and that's where Kentucky should really have an advantage of this game. So, just vibe check, Drew. 7.5 points. 7.5.
That's too low. I'll go ahead and tell you this, and this isn't like the game sneaking up on me, that optimism you get because you're excited. This isn't that. I'm taking the Cats because of 7.5. It will be a fight, and it's an opponent that's much better than we're used to seeing in this spot. But I feel like the conversation of this game has switched as it's gotten closer. So now it's almost like, can Kentucky upset Toledo? There's so many people picking Toledo now. Kentucky's going to be fine. They played the MAC champion last year and won 41-6, Ohio. And then that team went on to beat this Toledo team. They're good. We all know the MAC deserves its respect. I got a stat. Toledo, I read, has more consecutive winning seasons than any team except Alabama. That's their current streak. It's Alabama and then Toledo on consecutive winning seasons. So they're good. They have a great program, but I'm not getting all in on this upset alert anymore because I think it's gone too far. Cats are going to handle their business. It'll be close, but they'll handle their business.
I think it opened at, was it 14.5? Was what it
was
opened
high.
at?
Yeah, it was high.
And when the numbers started going down, I was like, oh, and it got to 9.5, and I'm like, are we gonna have to find a hammer to get out? And now it's down to 7.5, and there's definitely some dumb money thinking of Kentucky sucks. We saw Toledo win at Mississippi State last year. Like it's easy you can understand why people put 2 and 2 together. But Van, I just go to the trenches, and like sometimes when you play these games, you can't learn a lot about a team. But I think we're going to learn right away that Kentucky spent its money wisely in the trenches, right? Like they should be able to overpower Toledo inside. Like that just period. And if they can't, then we're going to have to start, raising some red flags about the whole season. But you should be able to control the paint. And yes, there's going to be some week one like growing pains. That's going to be part of it, and it's probably going to be close for a little bit. But like this is like a 17-point Kentucky win. I mean, even if they kind of have to grind it out at times, this feels like a 17-point, 37-20, 38-21 kind of game in my mind.
So they beat Southern Miss 31-0, right? Well, wasn't that the score? Wasn't a shutout? I know it got canceled.
Yeah.
31-0 at quarter.
Yeah.
Right.
So then they went.
Yeah. So then they went and beat the eventual MAC champion 41-6. Why do we see this game being any different? I don't understand that angst of, we're only going to score 20. We dominated non-conference teams last year. For everybody who complains about Stoops not running the score, I think we scored 120 points in those 3 non-conference games outside of Louisville. I don't think this game is going to be close. I really don't. I see this as a situation, as you said, we dominate the trenches. We don't turn the ball over. Maybe we create 1 or 2 turnovers, get us a short field, and put more points on the board. I just can't see this team. And here's the thing. Toledo lost their best offensive player last year. They had a great wide receiver who's no longer there in the NFL. So they got to replace him.
Max an anytime touchdown legend. He was so good. I was playing that all the time.
He was amazing. So now, as we talked about earlier, how Calzada doesn't have a true number 1. He lost his security blanket. How is Gleason going to play well without his security blanket in the first game of the season? I just don't see this game as being as close as what people think. I think all the rhetoric is going to really make the bulletin board material has no fact on the game, but what it does have a fact on is these guys been focused for the last 2 weeks, because now they're like, they don't think we're going to. Now they're laser focused for at least this game, and I see them scoring 30 plus points and maybe giving up 10.
Yeah, Bush had him humming last year. Why can't he do it in week 1 last year? Have him do it again.
Why not? Why not us?
What? There you go. The last time Toledo was here, though, 5-6 years ago, you're down 14-7, in kind of similar circumstances. Their star running back was a former Kentucky commit who had something to prove in that game. So I'm with you. I'm not worried, but there is the Chip Trainum connection over there. Kind of a little flashback to when Bryant Koback had them up 14-7 at halftime, even though Kentucky held on to win that game. But a little bit of a connection there. That's the only time Kentucky and Toledo have played. Still good over there, Roush?
I think it's
that thing where we can't tell if you're staring or if your Wi-Fi's gone out. I was going to hit you with a little.
Yeah, no, it's. I think the bird that died up in here killed the internet some too. Made a little chaos when he was in here. No, but it is funny to me that there is some like Chip Trainum worries. How would you feel about Chip Trainum if he was on your team? Would you be like, there we go? But like, I know that there's the revenge factor or whatever, but like, come on, he's a fun player. He's an in between the tackles player, but Yeah,
Fun storyline.
That there's nothing more or less. And you're exactly right, Van. Like if nothing else, these guys are gonna be locked in. You're usually locked in for week one, but even more so when people are actually thinking that you're going to lose to a MAC team. So I think the Cats are going to be ready to go. I'm fired up. Should be beautiful weather. I woke up this morning and walked outside. Dude, Van, it was in the 40s in the Commonwealth of Kentucky today. Yeah. Fall weather. And it should be beautiful, like low 80s and sunny for that 12:45 kickoff on the SEC Network this Saturday. Drew's going to be doing pregame at 8:30. Bright
8:30 in the morning. Yeah.
Bushy-tailed. So out at KSR, we're reopening tomorrow. So they're putting all the final bells and whistles on. You'll never believe this, Drew, but Ryan Lemon even got here early to test the internet connection. He was using the hard line. So I'll be using the hard line next week. I'm not going to be taking any more chances because for whatever reason it's decided not to work today. But this has been a lot of fun.
Ryan needs to be there putting in extra work. I don't know if you saw it on Saturday, but he ran into a server and knocked sour cream everywhere. And when he went down to pick up the sour cream, when he came up, he hit another server with his head and knocked a tray of beers everywhere. So Ryan he's got some extra duties this week after the events of Saturday.
Wow.
Oh, man. Well, Van, I'm glad we got you on the team for the 2025 Kentucky football season. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have Luckett with us next week. I'm glad we're all feeling confident going into this because it's no fun being a negative Nancy going into this. Like, we got football season ahead of us. We're going to watch the Cats win some games, and glad you're on board with this, Van. This was a nice start. Nice little get our toes wet. Get the week one. It's week one for everybody. We're getting the kinks out. We're going to feel good. We're going to play good. We're going to look good when things get to going on Saturday.
I'm hoping I can reverse the curse from last year and change it from 4-8 to 8-4.
Let's do it.
Oh, that'd be beautiful. Well, if y'all aren't following Van on Twitter, he's at VStyle17. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
17? VStyle17 on. We appreciate you following along with us here on the KSR YouTube channel. 11 personnel. We'll have a more detailed look about the game, me and Adam Luckett, on Wednesday night. Make sure you're locked in by subscribing to the KSR YouTube channel all year long. For Drew, Van, I'm Nick Roush. Go Cats and go Kroger.